Welcome to Beyond Six Figures, the podcast that helps business coaches to micro-niche, get noticed, and become fully booked. Learn from top industry leaders who've successfully taken their businesses and their lives beyond six figures. Get ready to level up your coaching business and make this world a better place, one business at a time. And now, here's your host, Ziv Raviv.
Hello, and welcome to Beyond Six Figures. Our guest today is Bevin Farrand, the founder of the Take the Damn Chance movement and a business strategist and coach who is taking her personal story of loss and transformation and turned it into a mission-driven brand. After losing her husband unexpectedly, Bevin committed to living bold, taking courageous leaps, and perhaps most importantly, helping others do the same. She scaled her business from zero to well over six figures in just a few years and have reached 600K even, all while embracing vulnerability, leaning into micro-action and teaching her signature framework, DAMN. Today, we're going to use this word a lot. Don't be offended. This is a pleasure and an honor to connect with you, Bevin. How are you? Hello, welcome to the show.
Oh, right back at you. It's such a pleasure to be here. Thank you for having me.
Everyone has their own origin story, and especially for business coaches that understand the importance of stories and the importance of questions in your journey, I wonder if you don't mind sharing with us a little bit about yours.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've had quite the journey, but it really, where people understand that the business started is in 2019. And my husband and I, we had just had our son. He was 4 months old. So that was our second child, just come back from maternity leave. And 2 weeks after Mother's Day, my husband surprised me with a trip to France on Mother's Day. He said, we're going to take it in November. And then 2 weeks later, I lost my job. And it was the third time I had lost my job in under 10 years. And I said, that is enough. I am no longer going to put the financial health of our family into the hands of any one person. Because I felt like when you are an entrepreneur and you lose a client, you lose a portion of your income. But when you work for someone else and you lose a job, you lose all of your income in an instant. And so as I talk to people about being an entrepreneur and, oh, it's so risky, I thought, no, it's much less risky than having a job these days. And so at that time, I was talking to my husband and I said, I'm not going to look for a job. I mean, I said, I'll keep looking for jobs, but I really don't want a job. And I want to start my own business. And I wanted to take everything that I'd been doing for the previous 10 years, which was business coaching, strategy, senior project management, launch management, execution, brand direction, all of these things that I'd done. And I want to start using it for small businesses and entrepreneurs who want to grow their business to 5, 6, and 7 figures. And at that point, we set some benchmarks to say, let's test this and see if it's a viable concept. And so that was in May. And we said, or I said to Mark, but he agreed that if I wanted to make $5,000 by the end of August, and if I could do that, then we would keep going. And that felt really reasonable to me, right? A little bit of a stretch when you're starting a business, but also not saying I'm going to make a $10,000 month next month. And so in May, I made $0. And in June, I made $0. And in July, I made $1,000. And then by the end of August, I hit my $5,000 goal. And by the time that Mark and I were supposed to leave for France, which was the week of Thanksgiving, I had made $35,000 in my business, which felt great. And it felt like the business was growing. And so we decided, even though this trip is crazy and it's only 39 hours in Bordeaux, we're still going to go. And so we went on this trip and we had this amazing time where we were celebrating my birthday. I was with the love of my life and my best friend. And we were reconnecting to who we were as a couple before we had kids, before we had these crazy jobs, everything. And we came back home. It was, like I said, the week of Thanksgiving. So Mark had taken the week off work. We did a lot of stuff around the house. We got ready for Thanksgiving. We took our daughter to her first movie theater show. And it was pre-pandemic. So we had 25 people coming for Thanksgiving. And we got ready and we had this beautiful, amazing Thanksgiving with all of our friends and family, our 2 young children. And the next morning, I went upstairs to wake up Mark, and he had passed away in the middle of the night, completely unexpectedly. He had undiagnosed heart disease. So one of his arteries was 95% blocked and another one was 50% blocked. And so no idea that this was coming. Here I am now, a solo parent of 2 kids under the age of 3. I'm the sole financial provider and have this business that's growing, but it was not tested. It had not stood the test of time by any means. And I'm doing all of it without the love of my life and my best friend and my biggest cheerleader. And so I got really, like a month later, I made a post on social media and I just said, I talked about losing Mark. I talked about my birthday. I talked about this trip. And I just said, whenever you're faced with a choice, just take the damn trip. And that started to resonate with people. And I got people reaching out and saying, I took this trip with my dad, or I was going to say no to this, but I'm going to go now. And I started to get into conversations with people about these dreams that they had on their heart and how they were no longer going to put them to the side. And so that is where the Take the Damn Chance movement started. And there were obviously some twists and turns to that of how it actually became a movement and how it started to build up. It was featured on NBC. I was in Business Insider and Yahoo News, and I did a TEDx talk, and all around this idea of take the damn chance and shifting it to do the damn thing. And that was the methodology I was building around just do the damn thing. And it damn does stand for something. It's not, I didn't just want to be a little sweary, but DAM stands for decide and declare, attend your own party, moments, not minutes, and now is the time. And I used that framework. I still use that framework in my life every single day. I talked to a client today about it. And using that framework where I decided, what am I saying yes to and what am I saying no to? And declaring that out to my cheerleaders and my support team, and then staying present by attending my own party, just all of the things. I grew that business from $0 to $300,000 in 18 months in the middle of the pandemic, while grieving the loss of my husband and while being the mama that I wanted to be to those kiddos. And then I continued to use it. I think I didn't check the number. I should have. Think we're over $750,000 now. And I also, though, personally used that methodology, and I used it to go after my biggest dream, which is that Mark and I, my kiddos are IVF babies. Mark and I were about to start our 3rd round of IVF when he passed away. And so I knew that this life that I live is not just about making money, but I wanted to fulfill my dream of being a mom of 3. And so 20 months after Mark passed away, I gave birth to our 3rd child. So now I am the mama of 3, 3 kids, 8 and under, running a business, and with its ups and downs, right? And all of the things that go with being an entrepreneur, and teaching the do the damn thing method in keynotes, in my coaching, in my book, in I say the word damn all the time. All the time I do, but that's really the origin story of my business.
Wow. What a tragic story that created an opportunity for you to realize that you have a calling in a way and a responsibility, and to imagine all the people that's unfathomable to imagine people that didn't have that damn trip, and to find some positivity in such a moment that you now have to raise your kids and you now have to do it by yourself and without the support of your biggest cheerleader and your best friend and your husband and your partner. And the father of your children, and moving forward to looking at your journey now. You're a mother of three, and I know how, at least from my standpoint as a dad, two of my three kids are IVF kids, and we were very lucky to not need IVF with the third one, but I know how it can take many months and even years, and it's a process that is not an easy process by any stretch of the way. So it's really, I applaud to your energy and to you sharing that energy with others and empowering others. I want to touch on a few topics. I want to start with the book. So on 2023, you released your Damn Manifesto, Discover the Keys to Personal Transformation and Bringing Your Biggest Dreams to Life. And that book, I want to ask you just a very direct question. What kind of doors did it open for you as a coach?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'll be completely honest. This was not the book I intended to write. I started out writing just more of like the overall framework. And you and I touched on this before we started recording, but I had hired somebody to collaborate with me on the book. And she was part of a business partnership, and they stole $40,000 from me. So I had no one to write this book, and I had lost all this money, and they were supposed to do PR, like all of these things. And I knew as a speaker, I needed to have a book. I wanted to have a book that I could put in the hands of people when I was speaking. And so what I did, and I'm sharing this because if you are a coach, which most of the people listening are, or if you just want to expand your message, you may already have your book in you. Because what I did is, this is the first step in the process of the Do the Damn Thing method, is to craft your damn manifesto. So I took the teachings and the trainings that I already did about your damn manifesto, and I translated those into a book. So what I say when I work with my clients, what I say on stage, I just took that and I said, how do I coalesce this into a book? I don't really know what doors specifically it has opened, but I know that it has opened my speaking door a bit wider. And so that was important to me. I don't know. I take that back, because I was just talking to somebody yesterday who had done all her research on the work that I do and had bought the book, and she wants to hire me. So, I mean, it is working, right? And I'm sure we could use it more effectively as a marketing tool. My assistant and I could be sending these books out to the speaking organizers. So I think there's lots of ways that I could use this even more effectively. The truth of the matter is, you're not going to make money off of your book. You're going to make money off of the opportunities and the collaborations you can create based on having a book.
I think that a lot of things we do for credibility is actually about our own confidence. And the fact that you felt like, I've done it, I achieved that milestone, I can be confident in my rates, I can be confident in approaching a speaking engagement of sorts. I think by itself, that's a great achievement. And you already have a client that came to you and said, hey, this is helpful. I am sure that it was also a tool that is just useful when you are doing your coaching. Mm-hmm. You can refer people to the book. You can give them one more way to experience you. So it's interesting. And thank you for being so honest about it. It's clear to me that this was a really smart move. Tell me a little bit about your clients, because you're a busy mom. You have very young kids. I remember mine are older now, from 12 to 18, and but so there's no like sleep interruptions. But in the earlier ages, it's not exactly the same thing. And how do you actually manage to do that? Do you accept one-on-one calls? How do you actually manage your time with your clients?
Yeah, such a good question. I have different goals now than I did when I first started my business because I made the decision that my youngest daughter is 4. This is her last year of preschool. It's the last year before she will go to school and full time. And I have said next fall is going to be life changing for me. I will have 40 hours a week to work. And right now, I'm not pretending that I do. I have about 24 hours I can work, and other things obviously also take some of that time. So there's about 24 hours when I have childcare. And that means my daughter's at school or I have a sitter or what have you. And that is just the season that I've chosen to be in. When Mark first passed away, I had a full-time nanny, and she ended up having her own baby. And when she had her baby and decided not to continue as a nanny, that's when I made the decision, okay, this is my opportunity to spend these last few months with my youngest daughter. And I have to be realistic about my kids. And I will tell you that it is not easy to be a speaker as a solo parent. When I have to go on the road to speak, I'm usually gone for about 37 hours. So the last talk, I went to California, to Palm Springs to speak just a few weeks ago. And I was literally gone for 30. I think it ended up being 40 hours because my flight was delayed. And I had to have like 4 sitters because I had to have some. Well, that time my mother-in-law came into town, but my sister was still here to help. When I flew to Iowa over the summer to speak, I had 4 sitters. I had somebody wake up with them in the morning and get them off to school. I had somebody else there from school overnight. I had somebody else that play dates after school. And so it was just this coordination that I don't mind doing because I love being on stage. I have a background in theater, so I love it. However, it is not the same as being able to say to a spouse or a partner, hey, I'm going to be traveling next week. So can you pick the kids up from school? It takes a lot more coordination, and that can be really exhausting. So I just have to be realistic with my goals and with not just my financial goals, but my personal goals about where I am in life right now.
And what about your coaching?
Oh, that's right. That's what you specifically asked me. Sorry. I was like, I feel like I derailed that question. So I do a blend of coaching. I do a blend of work. So part of my work is I actually work as a support coach, and I consider that like a retainer client where I give them a certain number of hours a week. It's usually about 10 hours a week. And that's my retainer client. And I'll tell you that part of why I do that is to have some consistency in my income. So that's near my baseline of what I need to be making each month. Then I open up just 5 one-on-one coaching spots a year. That's the maximum that I can work with. And right now I have 1 spot open. And when that spot is taken, everything goes on a wait list. Now, when I didn't have kids, there was no maximum. I could take anyone. I could have 30 clients. I don't recommend it. But if I wanted to, just take one more client on, I could. But right now, my max is 5. And then I have a group coaching program that kind of ebbs and flows. But for a while, I had a mastermind that was for women specifically who wanted to grow their business. It was a year-long mastermind called Grow Your Damn Business. And everything ebbs and flows. And I just look at what would be really fun to create right now and who would be really fun to work with. Because I get a lot of energy from the clients that I work with, and bad clients can drain my energy.
So let's talk a little bit about that. Especially when you know your limits, it's such a powerful tool because it actually gives you control over your rates, more control, because that's it. It's one, you can actually talk about that and be transparent with your prospect and tell them, I'm taking 1 more because I'm only taking 5. This is the rate, take it or leave it type of message, really. And there's nothing wrong with that. But it also is an opportunity to say no to some people. And I wonder, what is your guidelines? What's your red tape that someone will not be a good match for you as a client?
Oh, well, so much of it is a gut check, but I think there are some things. Let me first address one thing that you said about like when you only take a certain number of clients and you know your boundaries, then you can say my rates are this. There's 3 triggers for people to take action, and it's money, time, and scarcity exclusivity. So when you're looking at talking to somebody, you say, I'll hold this rate for you for 72 hours. That's time and that's money. And when you only take 5 clients a year, that's scarcity exclusivity. When I take my 5th client, then I will say to somebody that my next opening is April. And what that does is that encourages them to make a decision because, and I'll usually say, look, from this time that we've had this call, I will hold this spot for you for 72 hours. And then after that, it's when the spot's filled, the spot's filled. And that just helps people to take action and make a decision. So what is my red tape or my red line that I will not go beyond? I can usually tell. I think if there's somebody who wants me to do the work for them, that's a different kind of client. That's not a coaching client. That's a strategy and execution client. And I charge about 2.5 times more for that than I do for coaching. And so if somebody comes to me and I can tell they want me to do it for them as opposed to coach them, they're not the right fit. Or I'll tell them, you can do the retainer client, but it's 2.5 times more than my coaching rate because you get more of my time and more of my hands in the business. I also can tell when people are not ready to hire me. They're too early in their business. I worked with somebody once who had been in business, who had been coaching with somebody for 2 years and not made a single penny. And when she and I started working together, in the first 6 months of us working together, she made $15,000. And I was so mad because she wasted 2 years of her business with the wrong coach who was trying to coach her on the wrong thing. And I think we have to, as coaches, have the integrity to say, you're not in the time to hire me. You need to go do XYZ before you hire me. It is not cheap to work with me. I mean, everybody has their own definition of cheap, I guess, but like, I don't charge $100, right? Now, like for one-on-one coaching, it's $15,000 for 10 months, right? And that's the rates as when we're recording this. People who have not made $1 yet probably should not invest that. I mean, you can, and you'll get a lot further faster with having a coach, but I always want my coaching to stretch people, not strap people.
How do you overcome the objection of some clients where they say, well, I don't know yet if I can commit for 10 months. That's a long period of time. Can we try it out for a session and I'll only pay for that session?
Oh, I don't do one-off sessions. Well, I'll do like a VIP day with you. That's fine. I'll do that. But my minimum of working with people is 3 months. My minimum of working with a business client is 6 months. And the reason I do that is I know that in order to get the results that I feel proud of and I feel good with, it's going to be 6 to 10 months. And I feel like you have to be willing to commit to your business for that amount of time. If you're not sure you want to commit to your business for 10 months, please do not hire me, because you will then spend this money and then be like, I'm shutting my doors. And now I'm $15,000 in debt because I hired a coach that got me pretty far, but not where I go. Now, I personally have a guarantee with my business clients, and I tell them, you will make back the money that you have invested in our coaching in the 10 months, or I will keep working with you until you do. And that's just, for me, feels really in integrity to say, I believe in the work that I do. I've done this. I've coached, it's been like 20 years. It hurts to say that it's been 20 years that I've coached. I've worked with some of the biggest names in the online marketing world. I've worked with 7 and 8 figure businesses. Like, I know what it takes to grow a business, whether you want to do challenges or webinars or sales calls. Like, I've done all of those things. I know how to do them. I've been in front of the world as a coach and behind the scenes as a strategist. I bring all of that to somebody, and that lets them fast track what they want to do in the world instead of having to fumble bumble their way through it, right? Like they get a guide and a coach to grow a business that feels really good and sustainable and thriving and in integrity with their values.
Do you have a preferred industry or niche when you coach a business owner?
Not really. I've worked with everybody from, let's just give a variety of them. I've worked with people who did interviews for software engineers. I had a brief client who was a wrestling coach who was developing a wrestling program. I've worked with e-commerce. I have worked with people who are in HR, people who were building out a business to teach people how to do an Airbnb. So no, I tend to work with women, but it's interesting because some of my longest standing clients are men. So I really can't even say that I have, and I know it's so crazy because everybody wants you to niche down, right? Like find your niche. And I think that for me, the reason people want to work with me is because of me. And that has been something I've had to really step into in the past year is they want the do the damn thing method. They want my energy and my hands on their business to support them.
I want to ask you about the letter M in the DAM framework, moments, not minutes. I want to pick your brain on this specifically, because I wonder if you think that also has a relationship when you worry about magical moments instead of counting the minutes that you're putting into things. I wonder if that also means something about whether it has to be perfect or not. What do you think?
People almost never pick M. So I loved that you picked M. So the thing about whether we're worried about perfection is actually more in the N than now is the time, which is where I always say movement over mindset, that we have to just get into action using micro actions and we're working towards our damn manifesto. But the M, where I see this as an entrepreneur is being really present with the people that matter. And so what that means as an entrepreneur, like I can't be perfect, which I think is part of what you're getting at here, is that there is no like perfection. And I can't be in more places than one at a time. And so when I'm working on my business, I'm present in that moment. And that's okay because when I'm with my kids, I'm present in that moment. And so we're not trying to split focus. Now, don't get me wrong. There's plenty of times I do split focus, but I try to stay present in the moment. Like every morning we wake up and we have snuggles. And that is a moment that I don't give up with my kids. Yes, when I'm traveling, I do. But when I'm back home, we have that snuggle buggle, right? Like that's what we do. So I think that when we think about perfection, we just have to acknowledge that it doesn't exist. We can maybe have perfect moments. I just went sailing with my kids last week, first time they've ever been sailing. And my aunt took us out and I was laying on the front of the boat and I had all three of my kids and I had music playing. And I said, this is just about the happiest I've ever been. And that was hard for me to actually say because I was like, oh my gosh, how can I say that after having lost Mark? But it was true. It was this moment where things felt perfect and I wasn't working that day. I wasn't on email checking in with clients. I was there for the moment.
I think that being here now and creating moments, both of them have a meaning for your business and they have a meaning for your life. Both of them are important in both cases. You need to be here now for your family. You need to create magical, perfect moments for them. And I resonate with what you said, which you kind of saw where I'm going with it as well, which is that sometimes if you try to create a perfect moment for your clients, you might actually get stuck and you'll never launch, you'll never take action and actually push the damn thing and launch the damn thing and publish the damn thing. And I love it that you say that you like to focus on the moments, because they actually, it's like the difference between expectations and intentions.
Yeah.
Right? Like when you walk from intentions, you overcome the entire conundrum of I'm disappointed because I expected this and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
I have a question. Do you find some parts in your system, in your framework, that from your experience as a coach with your clients, that certain parts were easier for the female clients to understand and certain parts were easier for the men clients to understand? Was there any difference in your perspective?
That's a really good question. I think that probably my male clients have a tendency to be willing to get into action faster, whereas the women tend to be a little more focused on the A and the M. And what you just talked about with intentions and expectations, it's part of my A, which is, I call it radically loving personal responsibility. And that is, So Radical Responsibility is written by two Navy SEALs. It's a book they wrote, and it's like where you take radical responsibility for every single thing that's happening in your environment. Like everything is your fault. And that felt really aggressive to me. And so I made it radically loving personal responsibility. And what that is that we cannot control the outcome, but we can always control 100% how we show up. So we can take 100% radically loving responsibility for how we show up and in our role in the experience of our lives. And so that means that if I have a launch that doesn't go the way I expected, I have to ask myself, how did I show up? Did I show up 100%? When things started to go south, did I give up and say, oh, I guess it's just not going to work? Or did I say, hey, come hell or high water, I'm going to get 10 clients into this? How did I show up? And how can I shift my experience by shifting the way I think about it? And look, I'm not a Susie Sunshine kind of person. I don't sit here and say everything happens for a reason and we have to be positive thinking, because I think the positive thinking movement is actually kind of negative, because we can't have positive thoughts all the time. And then we have a negative thought and we feel bad about having the negative thought. And it's like the spiral that sucks us down. But what I do know is that we have the choice of how we think about things. And the fact that we have the choice is where the power is. And so we can think about things in a variety of different ways. And I honestly don't care how you think about it, but to know that you can is what's important. And I think that that's an important shift that all of my clients go through. But I do think that sometimes the men have an easier time getting into action over the women. And I think part of that is that women, this is such a generalization, but generalizations are generally true, right? As women, and I speak for myself, we feel like we have to be ready to take action. It means we have to be qualified. We have to have a certification. We have to have this much experience before we are ready to take action. But the truth is, we are always ready before we feel ready. And so we just need to be a little bit more ready. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Jen Gottlieb and Chris something that say you just have to be 51% ready. And just a little bit more ready than not to get into action. And that's why I focus on movement over mindset, because of course it's easier to get into action when you have positive thought, but it's not a prerequisite to get into action.
I love it. There's so much wisdom in what you just said, and so many tools hidden between the lines that can be used I'm really thankful for this conversation. There's so many other frameworks that you have released and have been working on that maybe we can catch up on another call. How can people go, Bevin, to learn more about your work and listen to you and learn more about the DAM framework?
Well, the beautiful thing about having a unique name is that you could type my name into any social media platform and find me. So it's just at Bevin Farrand, right? That's on Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook. It's like a defunct TikTok platform I don't really use, but that's where my name is on everything. And I would also say if somebody is thinking, damn, I just want to know more about like how my business could thrive, they can also just book a call with me. And you can do that at callwithbevin.com. It is because you're listening to this podcast, it's an opportunity I'm offering to you to dig into where you are and where you want to go.
We're going to put in the show notes all of the links I really recommend people check out your damn podcast and your damn book and your website and everything.
All the damn things.
All the damn things. We'll put all the damn links into the show notes. Thank you so much for taking the time to connect with us and to share with us your story. Congratulations with everything that you've achieved and with your clarity. And thank you for listening to another episode of Beyond Six Figures.
Thanks for listening to Beyond Six Figures. Check out the extended show notes that include bonus material, practical tips, and exclusive resources on our website, zivraviv.com. Until next time, keep dreaming big and pushing your business and your life beyond six figures.